Why you don't try make a fighting game? Or you can do that? Yeah, he actually just made a suggestion for a game that I was planning on doing already. But I mean I gotta start this video in some way. I surely can't just do... Hey guys. So, I'm gonna make a fighting game with some cool elemental stuff. Yeah, very original. So, I got to work with this third-person camera tutorial by B. Ricey and it was working really well. Except there was a very small issue. Maybe not so small actually. So, as a fix I came up with this. Now, is it the best solution? Probably not. But it works, and you know what they say, if it works, don't touch it. Well, that was short-lived. So, here's the new solution. It's still a bit buggy, so I'm just gonna take this script that was made by someone way smarter than me, that I totally didn't discover after stressing over this one problem for a week. Oh my god. And surprisingly, it works flawlessly. Now let's test it in the real game. Bruh. After that, I changed the avatar type to R6, so now I move around like a Minecraft character. But this can be a fighting game without something to fight with. So I made this very cool spiky thing which will serve as our melee weapon and attached it to the character. So I still move around like a Minecraft character, but now I'm a lot more threatening. After that, I made a running animation, so now I look less like a Minecraft character. I also made an attack animation which looks pretty alright, but attacking with only one hand is very boring, so I made this combo system, so now I can use both of my hands. I also added these things that slow down the player while they are punching. But right now I can't really hurt anyone, even though my punches look very scary. And I could try to make my own hitboxes, but I know a better solution. Theft. But jokes aside, I found this awesome module called Raycast Hitbox, which is very precise and easy to use. I won't go into detail on how it works, mainly because I don't know, but just know that it makes some red lines, and red lines are pretty cool. Except there was an issue. You see, pretty much every game in Roblox is coded with two sides, server and client. And making a hitbox on either side has its upsides and downsides. For example, the server side is very safe from hackers and stuff, but for high-ping players it's pretty bad. And the client side is the exact opposite. At the end I decided to make it client-sided, so to keep it somewhat secure I'm gonna have to add some heat verification. But I don't feel like doing it now. So now I can damage others, but it still looks a bit lifeless, like I'm punching a rock. Or the guy from that meme. So, to make it more like I'm punching a human, I made this hit animation, and with some sounds and a particle effect, it was looking pretty lively. After that, I added a dash, which looks pretty basic, so I added these effects and it was somehow looking even worse. So I decided to use this very good looking effect made by another YouTuber. And with the dash done, I can do some cool stuff like this. But before we continue guys, I just wanna let you guys know that only 0.0000001% of you guys are subscribed to my YouTube channel, so make sure to smash that subscribe button guys. After that, I got to work on the health bar and with some scripting I made it work. And I kid you not, I spent like 30 minutes trying to fix a problem that was caused by me accidentally unchecking a box in the beginning. I also added this cool regeneration sound and particles, and with that I could actually see my health and heal. I also added this meter that goes down every time the player uses a dash or heals. Now, if you look at this game, you might say that it looks boring, and you'd be right, because it is indeed very boring. So, to fix that, I'm gonna add some abilities. So, let's start with the ability for the spiky thing. The idea for this ability is that the player is gonna do a much cooler punch than the normal one. So, I made this model of a hand and made it show up at the player and go forward. And it was working very well, but I didn't quite like it. So I made it show up closer to the hands and rotated a bit inwards, and it was a lot better. Now, I don't know about you, but in my opinion, having the same hit effect for a normal punch and a much cooler punch is a bit weird. So I made this different hit effect which is a little bit cooler than the normal one. Now let's make some heat verification because I'm finally feeling like it. Hopefully it shouldn't be that hard since I just have to check the distance. So that's kinda annoying. Now what you just witnessed is a very weird bug and it probably has to do with ping. but thankfully I can easily fix it by only making the player be able to do one action at a time. So that means you can't do the cool dash thing anymore, but at least the game is safe from hackers now. Look, I'm not trying to be a hater, but this inventory looks very bad, so let's fix it. Firstly, I added these labels that will show us our abilities and made the image for the Spiky Things ability. Lastly, I added an outline to show which ability is being used. But there are 2 more spaces left for abilities, so let's get to work on the first one. This ability is called Drill, and instead of telling you what it does, firstly I'm gonna show you the process of creating it. So firstly, I made the player constantly go in a straight line in the direction the camera is looking, which I did by adding a linear velocity to the character and adjusting it to always go in the right direction. After that, I added this cone model, which will be our drill, and made it rotate in the right direction. The next thing I did was the trial, so it looks way better now. I also forced first person during the ability because the trial was blocking my vision, and added some hit detection using my trusty Raycast hitbox module. Lastly, I removed collision with other players, so now you can drill through them. The second ability is called Vertex, which is a defensive ability that prevents others from attacking you or getting near you. Now, I wanted to talk about how I made this ability for a few minutes, but sadly, just as I was about to stop recording, my graphics drivers just crashed, so I couldn't save the footage. So, here's the ability in action, I guess. Now, you might have noticed that there aren't any cool elemental stuff yet, and that's because it's coming in the next video. Well, only if this video gets 100 likes. Also, here's a cool video where I remake one of my games.